what I would say I'm kind of going through is a pruning or a shedding season. I feel like people are falling away from my life. You go through all this healing and you do all this work and you're on this journey and you're like, I'm set, I'm good. Life is good, like I'm on the right track. And then even still, things fall away. You have to trust it. When you ask for things, sometimes we have to shed and release the things in our life that are holding us back from that thing. And if you're going through that season right now where things are starting to feel like they're crumbling or falling away, I want you to lean in and trust it and understand anything being pulled from your life right now is on purpose in order to support you in this next level of life that you're going into. Welcome to the Expand and Evolve podcast. My name is Carly Pynchon, and my podcast is essentially a place where I love to dive into topics that allow you to not only expand your consciousness and your thought process, but also allow you to evolve into your highest self, whatever that means for you. And to preface this, so this week, I'm going to be talking a little bit about some things that I've been moving through, collective consciousness altogether, because I feel like if I'm going through a deep process, it's more than likely the majority who listen to this, you guys are experiencing this on some level also. And I also want to share that I am a little sick. I'm like releasing some stuff. And so I actually choose to see sickness as a way of our body just cleansing what it no longer needs. So I'm super congested, nose is running. And what's fascinating about this all came on as I was going through a process that I'm going to share with you guys. So bear with me if my voice sounds a little bit funky. That's why I'm super congested right now. And I was like, okay, I'm kind of sick. Like, do I even record this podcast? Do I wait? And I was like, no, this is so prevalent for my own life that I feel like there's no way, there's not a bunch of you who are moving through this in some capacity also. And so when we talk about the concept of collective consciousness, the way that I like to see this is, if you guys are familiar, if you listen to Elton's last podcast, that may have been the first time that you have heard 3D, 5D, 4D, all these different dimensions and how this can impact our lives. For those of you who are kind of like on this journey of understanding evolution as a person and spirituality, it probably wasn't your first time hearing about those concepts. If it is though, you resonate to me most likely because there's things about me, even if you're not quite there yet in terms of like understanding of all that language and quantum physics and all that kind of stuff, you don't need to be. You can just resonate with me. And if you do resonate with me, I feel like you're probably going through something similar. So when we talk about collective consciousness, how I kind of see it when you talk about 3D, 4D, 5D, there's different people on different planes. And I think I mentioned this in a previous episode where I listened to that Oprah podcast years ago. And it talked about souls on their evolution journey on a scale of like 0 to 10. And so collective consciousness, the way I like to see it is it kind of shows up. So if let's say you're a soul level 7, all the soul level 7s on planet Earth right now are probably feeling the exact same things. If you're a soul level 9, if you're a soul level 4, if you're a soul level 5. So not that it's a hierarchy of like where you're at, it's just your journey. It's just what you've been through. It's just what your curriculum kind of is in this lifetime. And for me right now, what's so crazy is like typically when I feel this pull to just like talk about exactly what I'm going through, someone messaged me and they're like, holy crap, I was going through the exact same thing. And I kind of took myself through a process to move through some of the emotions and feelings that I've been having lately. And so I wanted to share that with you guys. So at a very high level, what I would say I'm kind of going through is a pruning or a shedding season. And if you listen to the episode with Mina, she talked about this, how we're entering the fire year and we're the year of the snake and blah, 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 which is actually crazy because as I was on my walk this morning, a snake slowly slithered right in front of my path. And I was like, usually they go to hide. Why is he hanging out so slowly? Like it was intentionally taking my attention, if that makes sense. And I feel like it comes into play with what I'm about to talk about right now, which is the fact that yes, the year of the snake, quote unquote, has ended, but that doesn't mean that our process of shedding what no longer serves us is complete. There are still things like, let's say you set massive intentions for this year. You're like, oh my gosh, this is going to be my year. I'm going to accomplish X, Y, Z. I'm going to grow my business. I'm going to make this much money. I'm going to find the love of my life. I'm going to live a stress-free life, whatever you put on your vision board, right? More soft living, like whatever you wrote about. When you ask for things, sometimes we have to shed and release the things in our life that are holding us back from that thing. And so what I feel like I'm moving through is I'm just kind of going through a great purge. I feel like people are falling away from my life, which I didn't think I was in a season that I could have people fall away, if this makes sense. Like, it's like you go through all this healing and you do all this work and you're on this journey and you're like, I'm set, I'm good. Life is good. Like, I'm on the right track. And then even still, things fall away. Even when you think you're on the right track, things might fall away. And you have to trust it. And so basically, I had someone say that they were leaving my business. I had another person lose a promotion. I feel like certain friendships are just kind of really distant. I've had people fall out of my life that, I really wanted to cling to because I love them and I care about them and I want them to be close to me, but ultimately they're not serving me. And all of these things were happening. And so I was kind of in this state. And I think I talked about this on a recent episode too, where I was like, holy wow, like I'm just feeling in this low, I guess you could say. And I'm not someone who typically feels low. Like, I might have a day that I feel kind of like, but I don't feel low. And I've had days where I feel low, like literally to the point, and this is not serious, but like where you have the bad, not even bad thoughts, I don't want to call them that, the thoughts where it's like, it would literally be easier to die than feel what I have to feel to move through this. And I feel like sometimes when you feel depressed or you feel these super negative thoughts, or even if you become suicidal, it's like you're wanting to escape. What you're feeling is so much and so big that it feels easier to end it than have to move through it. And this is why I'm going to go through this process, give you step by step exactly what I did. But this is why it's so important to create space to feel. Because if you go your whole life avoiding those deep feelings, if it's deep feelings of grief, if it's deep feelings of sadness, if it's deep feelings of overwhelm, if it's deep feelings of not enoughness, if it's feeling like you need to give it all to God and surrender because you just don't understand what's happening in your life and it feels like everything's falling away, even though it feels like you're doing all the right things. Finding this deep, deep, deep trust is so important, and allowing yourself to move through the emotions. We came to earth to be feeling people. The whole reason you've chosen to come onto earth, to take this journey, to go through the life that you have been going through and living through, was for your soul's evolution and journey. It was in order to go through curriculum, to go through experiences. Like, when you start looking at your life this way, you understand that you chose this. You chose your parents, you chose your divorce, you chose the partners, like not like, oh, you chose it, so be fine with it. No. Like pre-coming to earth, you chose the hardships that you've moved through. You did. And you chose it because you're like, I'll be able to move through that. I'll be able to evolve past that. I'll be able to get through that. No problem. I believe in me. And when we come to earth, all of that memory, like all of our soul's blueprint that we had chosen before we came here, we forget it. So that's part of coming to earth. So you choose your whole soul's blueprint. You're like, oh yeah, I'm going to go down with you. You're going to be my mom and dad. You're going to be my best friend. I'm going to meet you when you're 30. I'm going to meet my husband. It's going to be perfect. And then we're going to get divorced. And then we're going to have to go through like being with these kids and like just like going through co-parenting, or maybe no co-parenting at all. And like, I'm going to feel like you're taking my power, but I'm going to have to go through all of these little hard pieces to be able to find my power. And how am I going to find my power? Like, you choose all of it before you come here. When you start looking at your life that way, you start to understand, even in the hard times, you're like, frick, okay. It's like, see it as part of the game of life. Like, you have chosen to come to earth at this time and to move through these hardships. And I feel like a few weeks ago, I was at this point where I'm like, like, I don't want to go through any more curriculum. Like, when is it going to get easier? When is my life going to just be easy breezy? And it is so easy breezy in so many ways. But the hard feelings still feel freaking hard. That doesn't go away. And the point I'm making about being a soul who chooses to come here is that you are here to feel. The whole point of being in a human body is to be in the human body. It is to feel what the human body feels like. It's to go through deep grief, deep sorrow, love, joy, all of these feelings, stress even. You are meant to be in this body and feel. the reason so many of us abandon it, I was really good at this. Put your hand up if you're really good at this. I was so good at disassociating and leaving my body anytime feelings showed up. So if, let's say I was going through a breakup, it would be like, whoa, this is a lot. Or like I get a text that, makes me want to go into fight or flight. I would avoid it. I could respond, but I would leave my body so I didn't have to feel, if that makes sense. So I would physically be there, but I wasn't there. And when I started doing body work, when I was like 29, 30, I forget. This was like a couple years ago. When she started doing the body work with me, she kept on like, come back to your body, come back to your body, come back to your body. And essentially what happens if you've been through really, really, really deep trauma and pain as a child, your soul could choose to leave because it's so painful that it can't physically be in the body because it's like, this is too much. And the whole point, like this is where like when they talk about heaven and all these things, because souls are eternal. Souls don't die. Our bodies might die, our bodies might decompose, but our spirit and our soul doesn't die. And so when you start to get that, you understand that it's like you chose to come down here. You chose this avatar, this body. Like for me, I chose in this lifetime, I'm going to be tall with massive boobs that grow at 12 and have to navigate that. I don't know why I chose that. I knew that I was going to have these big, I don't know the purpose, maybe for the attention it gave me. You know what? It's probably related to that. I understand that like one of my deepest fears was public speaking and being seen. And it's like when you have these big freaking boobs that grow at 12, balloons, when you have these big boobs that grow at a really young age, there's no avoiding being seen. Like you get noticed. And so it's interesting how that was one of my deepest fears. Yet I had these things that like always got me noticed, if that makes sense. And I feel like as a soul's point of view, like we choose this avatar. So if you chose to have a big nose, for example, you chose to have big lips, you chose to not have a body that maybe is your favorite. Like, I don't know. We choose the avatar though. Like you chose to be whatever skin color you are, whatever hair color you have, whatever eye color you have, you chose all of it. You chose all of it. It's shown up in a mushroom journey before. I was like, why did you make me white? I don't get it. Because I honestly, this is really deep for some of you, but like, I don't think I was white in any other life. Like I literally, in this mushroom, I was like, I don't get it. Why am I white? Why am I white? I don't understand. Because for me, I connect so deeply with all these other cultures and I always have, like even as a kid, all my friends growing up, like my friends were either Asian or Indian or African. Like none of my friends were white or they were Mexican. None of them were white. Like I've just always connected with these other cultures so deeply. And so I remember in this mushroom journey, I was like, I don't get it. Why did you make me white? And they were like, in this lifetime, like you have to be white. And it was just so interesting because when we think about it now, you're like, you're going through this life, you might be like, ew, oh my God, I hate my skin color. I hate my hair color. I want to change it. I want to, and it's like, no, you chose this. You chose it. So own it, love it, accept it. Like you were in this life, in this avatar for a reason. Exactly how you look, exactly how you're perceived by others. It's all for a reason and you chose it. So how empowering for one to understand that like every hardship you've been through, you chose that to be able to kind of show yourself and your soul that you're able to transmute it and move through it. So every hardship that you have from this point on, I want you to sit there and be like, okay, what is this trying to show me? Okay, what am I meant to learn from this? Okay, how am I meant to navigate this and move through this? If you need to pray, if you need to lean on a friend, if you need to lean on yourself, if you need to lean on God, if you need to lean on, and whatever practices you need, you're allowed to lean on these things. And that's the whole point of your soul's evolution and journey, is to be here moving through hardship sometimes and things and feel it. So as much as you might want to leave your body because it's hard, pull yourself back into your body. As much as you might not want to cry, but you can feel tears coming up, allow yourself to cry. Like if you want a life of freedom, flow, and ease, it's also allowing the freedom to feel, the freedom to allow those feelings to flow, the freedom to allow your body to move through whatever it's meant to move through with ease, not control. Think about it. You want a life of freedom, ease, and flow. I want to manifest my desires. Yet you control your body, your physical body at all times. Example, like sit up, shoulders back, sit straight. Make sure you're smiling. Make sure you're smiling. Suck your stomach in. make sure your stomach is sucked in because you don't want anyone to think that you're fat. And so make sure that you suck it in and then you smile and look friendly all the time. Does that sound like control? Does that sound like you're trying to make things happen? You're shape-shifting, you're adjusting. Do you get what I'm saying? Where it's like, if you want flow and ease, it's like maybe you're leaning back because that's what's comfortable for your body. Maybe your stomach is out because that's what's comfortable for your body. Maybe your shoulders are slouched right now because that's what's comfortable for your body. It's starting to understand, like, not that posture is not bad. It's not what I'm saying, but it's like understanding that if you want freedom, ease, and flow, things might need to shift. So that might mean like, oh my gosh, I don't understand. I've never been a crier. Why do I feel like crying all the time? You have things that need to move. Let them out. Okay, so coming back to this process that I feel like I've been moving through. So essentially what this all comes down to is I feel like I'm losing and shedding people from my life. And even though I might want to hold it because I love them and they've played such an important role in my life and I like want to keep them close and near, in this season, it might actually be creating space for me to allow what's meant to come in next. And so when you start to see your life as, okay, so I created a vision board, right? I created a vision board at the beginning of the year, and some of those things on it, like, I wish I could see it right now, but like certain places I want to travel to, a life of soft textures, for example, soft living, not soft living. I think I wrote soft textures because I want things to be like more comfortable. Like having my house be complete, being able, I'm going to get a G-Wagon eventually. Not yet because my lease isn't up, whatever. Like all these little things, right? There's places I want to travel. I want to meet a partner that like makes my life easier. All these things that I might want, okay? In your life right now, let's say you wanted a new house or you wanted to travel to a specific place or you want soft, stress-free living. You might have to lose a job, people, places, things that don't support the things that you're saying that you want. So when you start to get this, you're like, oh shit, I said I wanted all these things in January when I did my vision boards or in February when I did my vision board. And now all this stuff is falling away. And you're like, what's happening? My life is crumbling. Like I thought I made these vision boards and I'm manifesting and everything's supposed to be coming true and like be easy and flowy and da-da-da-da-da. That's not how it works. Like, yes, sometimes you're in a place where you're not going to lose anything. Nothing's going to fall away. You just start to have desires come to fruition. Maybe. But for a lot of us, in order to have those things come into our lives, things need to fall away. And if you're going through that season right now where things are starting to feel like they're crumbling or falling away, I want you to lean in and trust it and understand anything being pulled from your life right now is on purpose in order to support you in this next level of life that you're going into. If you're elevating in frequency, if you're elevating in, let's say you're going to make way more money or you're going to elevate into a new position or your business is about to explode, or you're calling in a really deep, beautiful love and all of a sudden your relationship is falling apart. Maybe it's meant to. What if that deep love isn't with the person that you're currently with? Allow that to just be a potential reality. It doesn't mean you need to leave them. It doesn't mean you need to split with anybody. But like, don't hold on so hard that like this person you're with, you have to stay with them, you have to stay with them for life. Like, ew, no. Every 7 years, I don't know if you guys knew this, every 7 years you renew a contract, a soul contract. So every 7 years, you decide, are we in this or are we out? So if you start to notice every 7 years, you're kind of like in this turmoil with your partner, you're going to be going through shifts and transitions. Part of that is, did you know our cells and our DNA completely regenerate over every 7 years? So every 7 years, you're like literally a physically different person. In addition to that, soul contracts last about 7 years. So in your friendships, in your relationships, in your romantic relationships, in business, whatever, whoever you've been connected to, often every 7 years, it's going to have some turmoil and some friction. And then you get to choose, are we re-signing the 7-year contract or do we need to part ways? And no hard feelings. Like you may need to part ways because what you want is different from what they want and you're holding each other back. You also might have seasons where you need to create some space and distance to go maybe create space for new friends or new relationships or whatever it is to go become that person and that next level of yourself, not connected to that person so closely, but then you guys find your way back because like they're meant to come back in your life at a different time. I can give you an example of this. I was doing this last night because I was just with my friend. She just had two twin baby girls, and they're so freaking adorable and cute. And I was over there visiting, and I was with her and my other friend who were my best friends in university. When I chose, so we all went to university together, we were all in the same careers together. And then when I started having like my existential crisis when I was like 23, 24, and I was like, oh my gosh, my midlife crisis or quarter life crisis, I call it. Like I needed to get out. Like I was like, this isn't for me. I pulled away kind of from everyone and everything because in that season, it was like, I needed to go deeper within myself. And it's no hard feelings against them as friends or anyone. But when I reflect on it, I'm like, honestly, I feel like they could have been so hurt by my actions that all of a sudden I was creating distance and I was retracting and I was going full spearhead into this new phase of my life, which was fitness, nutrition, being a coach, starting to do all that. Like I was fully leaning into that space in my life. And that meant in order for me to create that version of myself, I kind of had to pull away from the version of myself I was as university me and like government working me. Like I needed to get away from it to clear my space in my head and like go recreate this new version of myself. It was nothing against them at all. It's like I just needed that space to kind of not be in both worlds, if that makes sense. Because I'm like, if I didn't fully pull away, I don't know if I would have ever left that environment. Like I may have still been with them and still been, what's the right word? Like, you know, when you're in an environment all the time and so that thing makes you feel like, oh, it's not that bad. Or like, oh, well, I could make it work. Or like, oh, well, they're happy. So I'm like, I think it would have pulled me back in. I wouldn't have been so confident in my decision to completely like drop all of it and move into a different phase of my life. Does this make sense? So it's like, I've been that person that needed to retract and pull away. And I didn't see it then, but I see it now. And so anyways, we were all together yesterday. And I was just like, this is kind of crazy. I wonder how long it's been since we were so close. And it was crazy because like, I don't know, let's say like 10 years ago, we were super, super close. And maybe just over 7 years ago, I started to like retract and kind of go and do my own thing. But us all being together yesterday, it felt like nothing had changed. We completely like right back to where we left off. And I'm sharing this because you may feel this retraction from some of your friends. You may feel some of your friends retracting from you. And no matter what, trust that like if they're meant to be in your life, they will come back into your life. And if they're meant to fall away, they might need to fall away. And there's certain people and characters and players that are going to play a massive role in your life for a certain season. And then maybe they don't anymore. All of it is fine. And so when you find this level of like detachment and surrender to no matter what is happening in your life, you can find a level of peace within it. And I share that because how interesting that like they went and lived their lives. I had to go live mine. I went and created my business and I went and had babies and I did all these things. And now we're back in each other's lives and it feels the same. Does this make sense? So again, 7-year contract, how interesting. We're probably re-signing right now that we're going to be in the next 7 years together. Another example of this with my husband it was our 7 years. I knew this, by the way. I read a numerology book and I remember thinking, okay, when 7 years comes, it's going to be hard. You're going to want to get a divorce. Remember this. This is going to show up for you when you're 30. I knew it ahead of time because of like, I don't know if it was astrology, numerology, whatever. I knew. And then when it showed up for me, I was like, shit, it's happening. But like, I couldn't stop it from happening. So even though back in 2021, when I had that first thought, like, oh my God, soul contracts, like I think our soul contract is up, I fought it. I didn't want to accept it. I didn't want it to be the truth. I didn't want to have to go through a divorce and a separation. I didn't want to move through any of that. And so I avoided it and I ignored it and I hoped it would go away. It didn't go away. And so for 1.5 years, I sat in that, even though the soul contract was up, it was done. We had no further purpose to be living and being in each other's lives at that time. Like for who I wanted to become, for who he needed to become, we couldn't do it together. And so finally, 2023 is when we like officially, he moved out, we separated, whatever, which I cannot believe is 3 years ago already. But in that time, was it hard? Yeah. Choosing to separate when I thought I'd be married for the rest of my life. Yeah, I never thought I'd be the girl going through a separation or divorce because I'm perfect and I have a picture perfect family and da-da-da. And I believed in all that societal crap that like, this is the way it is. Relationships are for life and you pick the right person. And I'm not so much saying like, I don't want you to listen to this and think I'm like pro separation and pro divorce and pro not working through stuff. No. But when you hit that 7 years, you're going to probably go through friction. And you get to choose though. Like if you guys both want to be with each other, then it takes both of you to choose to continue being with each other. And that's beautiful. Every 7 years you get to choose, like, are we renewing this cycle together or are we parting our separate ways? And in a marriage and a relationship, for some of you, you're meant to be in a relationship with that person for life. You're meant to be soulmates. You're meant to stay in each other's lives forever. For some of us, that's not our reality. The person you might choose to marry or have kids with might not be the person you were meant to be with for your entire life. And rather than demonizing or making it wrong, understanding that that's not everyone's journey. Like some souls come into our lives for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 7 years, 14 years. It doesn't matter. Understand that it's all for a purpose. It's all perfect and you chose it. So rather than beating yourself up, like, why do they get that? And why don't I have that? And why is their life like this? We're all on separate soul journeys. It's all different. It's all different. And you can't necessarily fight it. You kind of have to work with it, if that makes sense. Okay, so on the 7-year thing. So now, here we are, this phase of my life. What year is it? 2026? Crazy. I'm almost going to be at 7 years since I had that first thought about the soul contract with me and my ex. And what's really cool is like, since we've split, we've found this really beautiful relationship that like, it makes more sense for us. Like we are really good friends. We can hang out. We can go to dinners together. We can be with the kids together. All of that stuff. But like, I don't love being with him all the time. I don't necessarily want to lay in the same bed as him and sleep together every single day. Like some relationship people that you have in your life, like some souls, like you need some space from. Doesn't mean they have to leave entirely. And so I'm really grateful we found a place where we're still involved in each other's lives, but not as like this all the time. Make sense? Okay. So anyways, I'm going to go through my steps and what happened for me. So I'm on this walk yesterday and I start looking at the trees and I go, okay. So when I look at trees, what happens? Do you guys know what happens when you have a sick branch? So like, let's say I have this plant in front of me. I was going to pick it up, but I'm not going to do that. So when you look at a tree and there's like 150 branches, right? This big rooted tree with all these branches. How beautiful. The clouds also, this is so my brain. The clouds look like they're like a heart in front of me and it's really beautiful. And it kind of looks like two dragons like kissing. And yeah, I have a really beautiful view from this house. I'm not going to lie. Like the mountains and the trees and the like, it's just actually stunning. I wish I could show you. It's so pretty. Anyways, okay. So I'm walking through the trees and I'm looking and I'm like thinking about this because I'm really on this topic of like, what the freak is happening? Why does it feel like relationships are ending and I'm having these people fall into my life and it feels like another one and not so severe. It's like, it's very light. Like I can just feel there's distance. Okay. And so I'm sitting in that, a ladybug just jumped right on my window. Which in my spirit book, it means to carve out time for meditation, alone time, and time to tune in inward and like pray, meditate, whatever. And now it's gone. So I think that was the message it wanted me to share with you. Okay, so I'm looking at this tree. And as I'm looking at this tree, I'm like, okay, when a part of the tree gets sick, what happens? I'm like, the entire tree's energy goes to the sick part of the tree to try to save and revive the tree at the expense of the other 150 branches of the tree. So for that one branch, it will take all of its life force, all of its energy to try to revive the one sick part. Where if you just cut off the sick part, the rest of the tree still thrives. It just keeps, okay, cool. We don't have to put energy there and we're going to keep growing for the rest of the tree. And I was starting to think about that and I was like, okay, let's look at my own life. Some of the people that are falling away, think of it like they were the sick part of the tree. So like here you are as the trunk, right? You're the trunk of the tree. And you have all of these other people, like it could be your work, it could be people, it could be entities of just like energy, of where you put your energy. And I was like, that part had to fall away because me diverting all of my attention and energy into that one thing was taking, this is the key part of what I noticed about the people who are kind of falling away. They were all energy takers. All of them. All of them were people who come into my life and like they need from me. So and any time that they've been super, 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 super present in my life. For example, I just have friends over the years, and not even friends, you could call them acquaintances, people in business, whatever. Just people who I've noticed, I'm like, I would put so much energy into them because it's like, I see their potential and I want to be there for them and I want to support them. And like, they're going through a hard time. And so I want to be there and support them in their lives. Or like the guy I was seeing, for example, too. It's like all of them though would come into my life, and when they would be in my life, I'd notice like took a lot of my energy. So either like talking on the phone for a long time or needing a ton of my all out support because they're moving through something difficult or whatever. And I just had to think, oh my gosh, same thing in business. So people that are falling away in business, right? I'm trying to give you guys a bunch of different examples over the years of just what I've noticed. And so when I think of my business, for example, some people have fallen away. And in other people on my team's businesses, people have fallen away. And what I was seeing is I was like, oh my God, they're just the sick branches. Like, in order for you to have this trunk and this beautiful, thriving tree that's about to blossom and bloom again, because we're going into spring, I was like, the dead part has to fall away. You have to drop kind of the dead weight and like go through this pruning season to create the space. And so it's like, without you even realizing it, these people that you've poured so much energy into, or maybe like one business thing that you've been pouring so much energy into, or one of your jobs that you've been pouring so much energy into, you are trying to hold that thing, and that's why it's taking so much of your time, attention, and energy. And what if it's falling away because it's trying to show you like this life that you want to have? You can't have it with these people all around you who take your energy and who are like that dead part of the tree that are occupying your entire life force to go support them versus having all of that energy grounded and rooted in you as the trunk in order to like go into all of these different areas. And I just saw it so clearly. I don't know if this is resonating and landing, but like if you have people who are falling away from your life right now, what if that's the pruning? What if that life that you asked for, that you were like, I'm ready to shed all of these old parts of me that don't serve me anymore, and now all of a sudden pieces are falling away? What if it's the dead part of the tree? What if it's the piece you need to prune in order for all new life to blossom and grow? What if in order for you to thrive so you don't die trying to save that one person or one thing, like you need it cut out of your life and you're actually being protected in order to go pursue this next phase of your life that you're going to go into? And when I was sitting there thinking about this, I'm like, dang, like I have had so many people in my life that were energy takers. And I give tons of my energy and space to them without really realizing, because I'm like, oh, well, like you need space, you need to be supported. Like I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to be here for you. I'm going to support you. Whatever you need, I'll be there. And then I'm like, shit, like there's a lot of people like that where they've never actually like reciprocated. And that's what I started noticing, because I'm like, I don't need a lot from people. Like, honestly, I go through so many of my processes alone because it's like, that's where I find my answers. And I think that's most of us. Like if we just sat alone, we would find our answers. But I feel like I am in this place where I do feel pretty strong, deeply rooted in myself, that even if I wanted support from other people, it's like, okay, it might be nice to like have you for a second, but ultimately it's like, I got to go cocoon and figure this out within me. And I know I have the answers within me. And so here I am offering all this support and all of this guidance and all of this. Oh my gosh, like you're a drug addict. Let me help you. Like, how can I support you? Like, what do you need? Oh my God, what if we get you help? And like, I'll be here every second of the day to like, let you call me in case you need me. And like, what? And then it's like, I have this other person who can go a week or two without talking to me and then call me for 6 hours because they just need to chat. And then I go fill their whole cup up for their life. I'm fully depleted, I might add, right after. And they're fine. They got to take all my life force energy. So now I'm recovering for 2 weeks while they have drained all of the life force energy out of me, taken it all to go make themselves feel better for their little ego boost. And then they come back for more when I'm finally replenished. And I was like, frick. So many of these people that I was trying to keep in my life, like they have to go, because if I'm going to step into this next version of myself and I'm really going to like grow and be rooted, I wrote down the words rooted, anchored, grounded for how I wanted to be this year. Oh, whoa, I'm having a realization that like how crazy that the man I see is like an elephant. I don't know if I told you guys the story on the podcast or not. I have a post on my Instagram where I saw my man, you could say, as like this anchored, rooted, grounded. I saw him as an elephant. I didn't know at the time when I said elephant and like all the qualities about him that it was like basically representing the man that I would one day be with. But I'm like, how funny that these were words I wrote down for myself, because whatever you are, you're always calling in. So like the frequency that you are and how you're functioning and how you're operating is exactly what is going to be that energetic match, right? Okay, crazy. Anyways, I digress. So I write down all these words. I want to be rooted, grounded, anchored. And I want to elevate in my life this year, right? In different ways. Like I can really see this next version and vision of myself. And I also, it's so annoying. I even put on my vision board, old life, new life, and that I was ready to let go of my old life. Shocker. Oh, things are falling away. Shocker, shocker, shocker. Of course they are. If you're ready for your new life, you don't get to hold on to every single piece of your old life and what was giving you comfort that's not actually helping you grow. Those things don't have a place anymore. So you have to be willing to let them go. Okay, so anyways, I'm sitting with this tree analogy and I go, holy shit. Like people in my business over the last few years who have fallen away, it's like they had to. It was parasitic. It was taking so much of my life force, so much of my energy. They needed to go. Relationships in my life, it was like putting so much energy, so much time, so much attention into them. They had to go. But all of this is mirroring back to me and trying to show me like I need to get to a place where I don't give all of my life force and all of my energy into others at the expense of myself. Am I so happy to be there and support people? 100%. You're going through a hard time and I'm your friend. You can call me. You know I'm going to be there 1000% and support you through it. But what I think it's trying to show me is like, you can do that and that can be a part of who I am, but I can't do it at the expense of my own well-being. And that is something that I have done time and time and time again. I will put all of my needs on the back burner. I will check out of myself completely. I will not do anything that I need to do for me in order to support somebody else. That's just what my pattern has been. And so in that, I think why I'm sharing, and I'm going to share these 6 things with you right now, but why I'm sharing that is because for so many of us, we don't even realize that's how we're functioning and we've been living our whole lives. And then we wonder why we're sick, or we wonder why we have no energy, or we wonder why the things that we want in our lives aren't happening. And it's like you're giving the majority of your energy, focus, and attention to things that are just taking from you rather than putting it within yourself. So with that, hopefully that tree analogy made sense. Before I go into these steps, I just want to say, if you're feeling like things are falling away, trust it. Accept it. Know that nothing would leave that is not for your greater good or higher purpose. And even if you feel like there's a little distance in a relationship or your life partnership or your marriage, whatever, know that like if you're meant to be together, you guys are always going to figure it out. You're always going to come back together. You're always going to find a way to be together. Like, don't allow that to ever make you be afraid of stepping into what you're feeling and acknowledging it. Because I think so often what I see in relationships is people don't talk about it. Like you could be feeling right now like, holy shit, we're at our year 7 and this is kind of scary for me because like I do feel really disconnected. I don't feel like we're on the same page. But then you'll sit in that and not talk about it. It's like if this is your marriage and your partner, freaking talk about it. It's going to be uncomfy. It's going to take courage. You're going to have to be honest. You're going to have to be vulnerable. It's not easy. This goes for friendships too. But it's like, how else do you develop and deepen that relationship if you're not willing to communicate? And then you think just leaving that partnership, relationship, friendship, and stepping into something new, you're going to get to the same place eventually. So it's like you may as well do the work with the person that you're currently with, whether that's friendship, relationship, whatever. Of course, it's 222 because that's been my journey and giving me all the messages. All right. So the things that I did and why I think I literally ended up sick, because I went through this process and I swear to God, it's like me purging it. And I think the old part of me that used to overgive at the expense of others is dying. Like I used to be willing to give everything to people and nothing to myself, whatever they needed to support them. And it would take me fully off track of me, my goals, my dreams, my desires, were like my own energy. And so I feel like that piece of me is dying right now because it's like, and you know what's also crazy is I'm getting so much better. It's like even standing up for myself in certain places, or like speaking up. And I can just feel that I'm going through an evolution, that even though it's not what I wrote on a vision board, it's like this is a piece of the puzzle in order for me to achieve and move into this next level and version of myself. So step one, are you guys ready for this? I'm going to go through these 6 things and I want you guys to do this process. So if any of this resonated where you're feeling like, holy shit, it feels like things are falling away, I don't know what's wrong, I've been feeling so low and so overwhelmed and so like I don't know what's happening and I don't feel like myself, I'm telling you, all you need to do is these 6 things, and I promise, like, you will feel so much better. Number 1, if you do nothing else, carve out space to be alone. You're feeling overwhelmed. You are having really dark thoughts. You don't feel like yourself. You have no motivation. You're feeling overwhelmed. You don't want to talk to anyone. You're hermiting, but then you go scroll on your phone or you watch TV. I'm telling you right now, you're being called and pulled to go inward. So when you feel like, I just want to hermit and I just want to be alone, so many of us, we're not actually alone. You're being called to be alone, but you distract on your phone. You scroll, you watch TV, you go keep yourself busy. No, when you feel that pull to be a hermit and go inward and be alone, actually be alone. Because do you know what alone, actually the word, it's all one. When you're alone and you learn how to actually tune in and go inward, you understand that you're all one. You feel connected to God, source, universe, whatever you believe in. It's where you're going to access your guides, your angels, all of it. You can access the beauty that life has within when you're so busy staying external. You have to go inward. So when you feel that pull, like, oh my God, all I want to do is be alone, actually go be alone. Like maybe it's reading a book, maybe it's drinking tea in bed, whatever. But I would encourage you and push you to actually spend time eyes closed, laying down, breathing alone. And if you don't know how to sit with yourself yet, I'm going to give you tools that you can do to help guide you there. Because ultimately what starts to happen for a lot of people is it's so overwhelming to be with yourself that like you need to distract. But when you learn how to even do yoga or journaling or meditation or breath work, something that can make you sit with yourself, like you're still doing something, but you're with yourself, it will create the access points needed. So number 1, I was like, I'm feeling off. I'm feeling weird. I have to carve out space to be alone. This weekend, I could have filled up all of today, by the way, Sunday, with stuff. I got invited to like go help with an event and go do this and go do that. And I was like, I need to actually say no because I need a full day alone to figure out what the hell is going on. Luckily, I felt through a lot of it Friday night. It's now Sunday. Saturday, I still took space for it in case there was more to come up. And Sunday, I gave my whole day to myself in order to like move through whatever I needed to move through. So that might not be possible for you, but if you can at least carve out an hour, 2 hours, whatever you can in order to have some space for you. So carved out space to be alone, number 1. Number 2, I went for nature walks completely unplugged so that I was with my own thoughts to allow myself to process and feel and just try to articulate and understand, like, where was this all coming from? How could this all be playing together? And like reflect with some deep self-awareness for like what level I've contributed to like things that are happening in my life right now. Like, did I play a role? Was there something I did? Was there some way I acted? Is there something I would have done that could have like hurt someone? Is there a way I could have supported them better? Not supported them better? Like I was just doing a lot of deep self-reflection to have awareness around like my role in everything. Next thing, number 3, call a friend and hash it out. So once you've spent some time alone and like thinking about it, if you're kind of like ruminating, you're like, I don't know, I don't understand. Like, what does this mean? What is happening? Call a friend and hash it out. Ask for their unbiased opinion and perspective and insight, just to be like, okay, this is what I'm moving through. Like, what are you seeing from this? Because they may say something completely different because they're emotionally detached from the position that you're in. Does that make sense? So calling a friend. Number 4, this is really important. I need to link this for you. I did a hip opening yoga flow. And once I did this, I knew this would happen because it usually opens me up. So when I'm feeling like, okay, like I can feel there's a lot of stuff in my body, but I don't really know where to start. And like I don't necessarily feel like crying right now, but like I can feel something needs to move. Hip opener yoga. You can search on YouTube, trauma release yoga, somatic release yoga, deep hip opening stretch, whatever. Anything you can find that works on the hips. Because for women and as even men, we store so much of our emotions there. Go create a space to be able to do that. So I did a 20 or 30 minute flow. That night I was like, I need to be alone. Even though I wanted to scroll and watch TV and do all these other things, I was like, you're doing yoga first. open your freaking yoga mat and do this yoga because something needs to move and you need to sit with it. So I did. And so I opened it up, did the yoga, and by the end in butterfly stretch, because it's open, the emotion started to flow and my hips hurt like a bitch. And you know what's crazy about that? Like I was completely pain-free 2 years ago. And over the last little bit, like I've slowly been having pain in my left side and pain in my hips and all of this tightness. And I'm like, you know what's different? I've been off of my yoga practice daily. I have not been journaling every day like I was. I have just been out of my practices. And I also introduced TV back into my life. And do you know what I've noticed since doing that? It's really nice to be a couch potato. But in doing that, I don't do yoga at night. Like it's taking away because I think I need to go through that to realize like, okay, I understand how it can be so fun to watch a show and like nice as an escape and yet not at the expense of it taking away from like precious time with yourself. So if you've taken the time to be with yourself, that's okay. Like enjoy TV. But if it's now occupying all of your time where you could be doing the stuff that I'm telling you right now, then like it's not playing a healthy, balanced role in your life. Do you know what I mean? So just be aware of that. And so anyways, I did this deep hip opening yoga. I'm sitting there, my hips are open and I start crying and it's hurting like a mother effer. And I'm like, breathe through it. And tears are coming, tears are coming, tears are coming. You don't need to know where the tears are coming from. Just let them flow. And then it stops. And I'm like laying there and everything feels great. And I'm just laying. And then I'm like, okay, here it comes, another wave. And when you start to understand that emotions are just energy moving, they're energy in motion. And then it comes like waves. You understand, like we're water. We're like the ocean. It moves, it flows. That's the feminine. You have to feel. You have to be in your body and you have to feel. And if you're someone who doesn't know how to do this and you're like, oh my God, sounds great, but like, I don't know how to do this. I have an empowered feminine course. I never talk about it, but I created this a few years ago for all the people because I know what it's like to go from being hyper masculine into your feminine, where it's like, I don't even know where to start. So I created this course to give you actual physical, logical to-dos to help you be able to move into this place where like you feel in this trust and surrender and you're able to like move your body and feel the flow and do all the things. Yeah. Okay. So in addition to the hip opening yoga, let yourself lay there. If you want to cry in pigeon or deep stretch or butterfly, let yourself cry. Let the emotions move. Trust it. And then as it moves through, what you're going to find is like, it may keep coming in waves and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I feel great. Okay, I'm done. You'll feel it. You'll feel it when you're done. And then when you're done, I got on my bed and I started journaling. And I was like, okay, I moved through a lot of the emotions. Now that I feel more clear, let's journal about this. Let's get some clarity here. Let's figure out if there's anything that I'm missing. And then I sat, number 6 is I just drank tea in bed, rested, and felt the feelings if there's anything else that wanted to come up. And then read a book and just like literally rested the last few nights. So those are the 6 things. And I'm going to give you a couple of my journal prompts just to end this episode because I think they're really valuable and they helped me. So I'm just going to share some of the questions I asked myself. And I feel like the reason that this is important that you don't necessarily start with the journaling, maybe for you, journaling's fine. But I carved out time for myself. I went for a walk. I did yoga. I prioritized movement first before I even went into the journaling because I wanted to get centered, grounded within me to be able to know where this was coming from and connect in a deep spiritual place where I feel like it's my higher self talking to me, God, whatever you want to call it, not my ego overtaking it. Does that make sense? So I really recommend the time with yourself, nature, yoga, some form of movement first before you do this journaling. And this cold that I have, as I was doing the yoga, my nose started running. So at the same time I was crying, I could feel it. My head got super congested and my nose started running and I was like, cool, I'm getting sick. But to me, I'm like, this is just energy moving. It's just a purge. It's all beautiful. It's all good. So the first thing I asked after doing yoga, I was like, okay, God, what are you trying to show me? And if you don't like the word God, say source, universe, insert greater spirit, whatever you want to say. Okay, so what are you trying to show me? And then just let yourself sit with it. What came through was people without pure loving intentions can't be taking your energy anymore and be the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with. So you know how they say like you're the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with? Do we like the 5 people we're surrounding ourselves with? Do we want to become those people? And it's not that everyone needs to be like high vibe and amazing and like, you know, I mean, obviously we hope the people around us are amazing, but the point is, there was a season in my life where the 5 I was spending the most time with, I don't want to become the sum of those 5 people. So they kind of had to fall away so that I could have new 5 closest people who would help elevate me and pull me to like where I was meant to go and who I was meant to become. I also was able to realize that misaligned relationships for the next season of life. So nothing bad or wrong. They were just misaligned for that next season. Then I asked, like, did I do anything wrong? Like, was there anything that I did wrong that I need to own up to, apologize for, bring awareness to, have a conversation about? Like, first take ownership before you ever put blame on anybody else. Then I journaled, is there something I need to recognize within myself? So like, is this all trying to show me something that I'm doing that I'm completely unconscious of? So is there something you need to recognize within yourself? Because for some of us, it's a big lesson. It's like, hey, look in the mirror. You're creating all of this. And for some of us, it's actually just falling away because it's not what's best for us. And if it didn't fall away, we'd keep holding on because you're Taurus and you're loyal to the death of you and you'll hang on to anyone and everything, even at your own demise. Okay. So basically what it showed me was just making space for new, aligned, God-led, soul-filled connections. That's great. Look how much better I can feel now that things are falling away because I know that it's bringing in something that's more aligned, better, going to be even more soul-filling. Because like, honestly, who I was 7 years ago, the relationships that I was super close to, they weren't necessarily super soul-filling and weren't aligned in the life that I'm now creating. So it's okay to let them fall away. They served a purpose in that previous version of me, but they don't really serve a purpose in who I'm becoming now. Creating space to see those who really need you and are not just energy suckers and takers. And it showed me that I gave so much of my energy into the people who are now gone. And even though it might feel hurtful or sad sometimes, that I can't be giving so much of my energy and support to the people who dispose of it. And it doesn't mean it's anything personal. So the next question, why does this season feel so challenging, hard, and isolating? Why does this season feel so challenging, hard, and isolating? And the instant answer was it's separation season. Stripping you of what is no longer in your highest alignment and new frequency and elevation is about to be unlocked, and you need to trust this pain and loss is the sign of a breakthrough. So I don't know if that lands and helps you guys, but it was so helpful for me. The next thing that I kind of wrote down too was you can't miss what's meant for you. So if you continue to follow your soul path, your journey, whatever you're feeling called to, whatever needs to fall away, understanding like you're never losing something that is meant to stay in your life, if that makes sense. You can't miss what's meant for you. So continue letting go and releasing to create space for what is next, and trust that if you just know your worth and you stand true in it, that like the right people are going to find you, the right people are going to come, you're going to keep going through this journey, and it's going to bring you to that next phase of your life, exactly where you're meant to go. And another thing that I really just started understanding, this is my last thought, I promise, was that our energy is currency. And I feel like I'm going through this kind of awareness, I guess you could say, and awakening to the fact that I have given so much of my energy for free. And if you are trying to find this version of you that has deep self-worth, that means that you understand that your time is really valuable. You understand that your energy is really valuable. Like the spaces that you create. For example, I have had so many compliments lately. And the reason I'm sharing this is because it's like, girl, are you gonna get it? Are you gonna get it? People are like, I love being around you. Your frequency makes me feel better. I don't even need you to say anything. Just being in your space and your energy and your presence makes me feel like a better person. Like these are amazing compliments to receive. And I am so freaking grateful for them, because there was a season where I said, I'd never want to be complimented for the way I look. I want people to come at me for how I make them feel. And this was years ago. Like years ago. I remember being like, I don't want just like external validation. People would be like, you're prettier. I love this about you. And it was like all surface. I was like, I want people to like give me compliments that show me that they see my soul. I didn't say it in those words back then, but that's essentially what I was meaning. And getting these compliments lately, I was like, okay, I'm on a breakthrough in finally understanding frequency as currency and our energy as currency. Because we think about it where we're like, okay, money, we just get money. And like, if we make more money, we make more money. And I'm like, no. If I want to own my self-worth at a really deep level where I actually value myself to my core, I'm like, I might, like I love myself. It's great. I have self-worth. I do. And I know I do. But I'm like, if I want to elevate even in that sense, it's like, I can't have a deep awareness and understanding of my self-worth while I'm out here like giving all of my energy to people who don't reciprocate. Like when you think of Elton's, he talked about that infinity loop and the manifesting loop, like what you're manifesting is manifesting you. And in the middle is where there's give and take. So it's like you might receive something, but they receive something also. I'm like, if you really understand, if you understand frequency and energy, I'm like, I have given so much of myself where it's not an equal energy exchange, where I'm giving, and I'm not receiving anything in return. And so I think what it's been showing me is like, you can't keep doing that. Like, not at the expense of your own well-being. And if you really value yourself and you have true self-worth, you're not going to do that anymore. You're going to be aware of it and be mindful of where you give your energy to and the spaces that you give your energy to also. So with that, thank you guys so much for listening. I pour a lot of my life and energy into these podcasts. I wouldn't say life, but life force. And I absolutely love doing them. I feel like it's part of my personal process, you could say, is like sharing out loud all of my thoughts, because I can have a conscious thought, but then all the other words that come out are unconscious a lot of the time. And so it's like me being able to even listen back sometimes I'm like, dang girl, I needed to hear that. And then other times I'm like, ugh. Like I'm cringing because I'm like, why are you saying that? And so it brings a lot of awareness for me. And so I'm just so grateful for you guys that are here, that listen. And I just want to ask you, if this podcast has served you or helped you in any way, please subscribe. Please like the episode. Please share it with someone who it benefits, that you think this would be helpful for. If you do this process and it helps you, share it with somebody that you know. I know in one of my previous episodes, I talked about a process and someone shared that episode with someone who's now one of my friends. Like they shared my podcast episode to Diera Story. So if you follow her on Instagram, I connected with her randomly. Like all of it happened so synchronistically, it's crazy. But it's literally like, I made an episode, so I put energy out into the world, right? I made an episode. I talked about my process that I went through to help release. Someone listened to the podcast, were like, girl, you need to hear this. They sent my podcast episode to her. She listened to it. Days later, I had no idea this was happening. I've never heard of her. Don't know who she is. Days later, one of her reels pops up on my feed. I message her, something that I never, ever do. I message her and I go, girl, I'm so proud of you. This takes serious courage. And I never message people. I don't remember what I said, but I was like, I just need you to know, like, I'm so proud of you, because like the comments she was getting were horrendous. And I was like, I just need you to know, like, keep sharing, because like, this is so powerful. She messages me back and goes, I literally just listened to one of your podcasts. This is crazy. And I did the whole process that you shared in there, and it was so helpful for me. And then we end up going to Hawaii and meeting, and now we're friends. And it's like, that is the power. So if you feel that pull ever when you're listening to an episode, share it with somebody, because there's probably a reason for it. Listen to those intuitive pulls. When you think of someone in one of my episodes, share the episode with them. There's a reason for it. Trust that. And start leaning into those intuitive pulls, because they're so freaking powerful. So with that, thank you for sharing, or thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing if you do decide to share. And I'm just so grateful for you guys being here. I love doing this podcast. It's so helpful for me. And I love pouring my energy into this. So thank you so much. I would actually love, if I could ask you to do one thing, subscribe on YouTube, because I want to make my YouTube grow a little. Like, I just feel like there's value in growing YouTube, but I never share the YouTube videos. And so the views are quite low. And I'm like, I don't really know why they're so low, but it's probably because I share only Spotify and Apple. Anyways, that would be so helpful for me. So thank you guys. I appreciate you being here. I love you, and I will see you in the next episode.